Now, in our first story, court cases in the Upper West region have been suspended after the jury there walked out during proceedings. They accuse government of unfair treatment and have threatened not to return until all their concerns are addressed. Correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports.
According to the jury foreman at the High Court, Hakim Suleiman, they have not been paid their attendance and sitting allowances for almost 2 years. They have continuously complained to the Judicial Service of Ghana on their plight, but has been ignored.
Attendance and sitting allowances that span from November 2021 up to date. And we have informed my Lord, the High Court judge, several, and then the judicial administrator and all those people concerned about their failure to honor this our payment. Especially most of us come from the communities which is a bit distant from the High Court, and they take means of transport and come to the court as and when there's sitting. So we have complained and they've not heard. They say they've heard, they have not taken any action.
The cruel reality, however, is that colleagues in other regions, according to them, have been paid.
Don't know whether it is a discrimination or a kind of a sort. We can't tell why they have decided to pay all the other regions and left out Upper West region. So we think that we are undermined, and we think that this should get to the authorities for the unfair treatment.
The jury on Wednesday were supposed to sit on a murder case, but they truncated the process, apologized to the court, instead they walk out.
We attended all right, but we made it clear that we are not disrespecting the High Court, we are not disrespecting the lawyers present, and we are not disrespecting the people in the courtroom. So we apologize for our actions that we are going to take, but that we have to lay down our truth until our concerns are met.
For now, cases of murder, manslaughter, and rape are now on sine die. The jury members are saying that they will not sit unless these monies are paid to them. They cannot give definite sum of the money owed them by the Judicial Service of Ghana, but believes it is in the range of thousands of Ghana cedis for the over 25 jurors and panel members at the High Court and the District Court respectively.
Usually the attendance is 100 cedis and the sitting allowance is 100 cedis. So if you calculate, it depends on the number of attendance and the number of sittings that each jury member makes. So the amount varies from a person to the other. The more cases you are in, you have more monies to pick.
The delay in payment of these monies to the jury members is affecting their lives, and they are now appealing to the government to quickly come to their aid.
Now, the Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Butcher, is asking Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies under the Social Cohesion Program to handle the project with tact and discipline. Government and the World Bank are funding the Gulf of Guinea Northern Social Cohesion Project to improve infrastructure and also prevent the spread of conflict from the Sahel into the area. Martin Abugri reports that 48 MMDAs will benefit from this project.
The project is a $450 million World Bank support project expected to be implemented in Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Ghana. The government of Ghana's allocation is a total of $150 million credit facility. The project will support the northern parts of the Gulf of Guinea countries that have been affected by food insecurity, climate change, conflict, and violence. The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said the development projects would include roads, chipped compounds, schools, markets, among others.
As you are aware, the project is expected to financial investments in some projects types like feeder roads, small air dams, boreholes, and social infrastructure such as markets, schools, complements of furniture, chiefs compounds, pharmacies, which impact directly on improving the lives of our people. Other investment areas are in ICT centers, recreational facilities such as AstroTurf and parks, information centers which are particularly targeted at the restive and vulnerable youth in these districts who are prime target of extremist ideas across the borders.
The Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Dan Kwekuyebwa, on his part said the project should not just be on paper, but there should be a reflection on the ground.
I'm sure many of you have said this. And that's what the minister was saying, that we are going to do this year and then continue next year. We'll double this number of projects. So when we say that Soko is a game changer, truly it is. But it's not going to be a game changer on paper. If our attitude towards its implementation is not what is expected of us, you will get it. And that's due to write a project where your thesis for masters or doctorate. Analyze the intervention of all such projects in the past 30-40 years and its impact in Northern Ghana. I come out with a conclusion. Either we are not sincere to the people who claim to serve, or many people let these projects and just pocketed their monies. Other than that, with all these interventions, is that what we see in the part of Ghana?
The senior technical advisor at the National Development Planning Commission, Nicholas Azasu, is worried that less than 1/3 of metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies in the country were able to either maintain or improve upon their internally generated funds in 2020. He says only 71 of the 261 MMDAs achieved this feat. There's more on that in this report by Martina Bugri.
The training brought together various senior officers from the assemblies to be trained on revenue mobilization to help them have other sources of revenue for development projects. Senior Technical Advisor at the National Development Planning Commission, Nicholas Azasu, said the Assembly's revenue generation was good until COVID-19, which distracted their revenue collection.
The growth from 2019 to 2020, which was 1.49, has moved up to 12.4, meaning after the COVID, some or most of the assemblies are beginning to recover by improving their internally generated funds. So the workshop is again to be able to support the capacities of the assemblies to sustain the growth and, if possible, improve, and also to be resilient so that in the future, if something similar to COVID happens, the assemblies can maintain their IGFs and still grow their IGFs so that they can provide the required services requested of them.
The UNDP resident representative, Dr. Angela Lusigi, on her part said there was a wide gap between available financing and spending, creating a shortfall.
We all know that local authorities play an important role in the delivery of basic public services. But we also know that they face great challenges. For instance, there's a wide gap between available financial resources and spending needs, particularly in the northern region. We looked at data from the composite budget for the 16 MMDAs in the northern region, and we noticed that by August 2022, they had achieved only 46% of the budgeted revenue. And this means that there was a shortfall of 54%. And over time, this gap is likely to widen because of a rise in demand for services due to urbanization, as well as the impact of frequent natural disasters caused by climate change.
In our next story, the Public Utilities and Regulatory Commission is undertaking a tariff education program in public universities across the country. The initiative will educate students on the complexities of energy tariffs, pricing structures, and the importance of responsible energy consumption. Executive Secretary of the PURC, Dr. Ishmael Aka, says the move by the Commission is to demystify the tariff regime in the country.
Energy tariffs are a critical component of any nation's energy sector as they directly influence consumer behavior and energy consumption patterns. In Ghana, like many other countries, tariffs play a significant role in determining electricity and water prices for domestic, commercial, and industrial consumers. The PURC's tariff education program seeks to demystify the complexities surrounding tariff structures and empower students to make informed decisions regarding their energy usage. Dr. Ishmael Aka is the Executive Secretary of the PURC.
We have three main reasons. The first one is to explain what we consider in determining the tariff. The second one is to encourage consumers at least to use electricity efficiently. And the third one is to provide a platform for students to also ask questions, engage us, and provide recommendations and suggestions to us. So we came to Cape Coast Technical University today. One of the key things we mentioned was that we have two tariff windows at PURC. We have the major tariff and the quarterly adjustment. So for instance, we take their proposals during the major tariff and we compare the figures in there with their own historical analysis. So we do what we call trend analysis. So last year they bought a transformer, let's say at 2 million. If this year they are making a proposal and they are telling us that the transformer will cost 5 million, we question them, we compare and do other things. We also compare the prices with regional similar utilities in the region across Africa so that at least we can have a very good price consumers will not burden consumers. And finally, we also go to the market to do a market survey so that we can compare the prices.
Dr. Aka believes when students are empowered, Ghana's energy consumption space will be the better for it.
So every quarter, what we do is that we compare what we forecasted for 3 years against what is happening in that quarter. So for instance, when we're doing the major tariff review, we said the exchange rate was 5 cedis to $1. But maybe after a quarter, it has moved to 8 cedis to $1. What we do is that we compare what we used and take the difference and either add or subtract from the tariff. If we also said the exchange rate will be 5, but it's now 2, then it means that the cedi has gained, so we have to also reduce the tariff. So we do these reviews to ensure that ECG, the transmission companies, and the generating companies have enough to cover their cost of operating and their cost of maintenance and cost of investment.
Some of the students shared their experiences with Joy News.
Actually, I'm a procurement student. This program was so lovely. We were educated about how electricity and water system works, and then how we can also measure the consumption rates in our homes. So it was so lovely. It was so lovely, and then we really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the program so much.
The organizer for the procurement department, and this program, we really like the program because we have learned a lot, and we have learned how the Ghana water company and how the electricity, how they operate things. And I think nowadays you are going to understand when they bring a new things on board. We really thank you people. I say God will bless you, and we are expecting more.
Okay, this program has taught me a lot, that I don't waste energy because I'm going to pay for it. I don't leave things on when I'm not using it. Example is leaving my TV on, coming for lectures. So when I do all this, I'm going to consume less and I'm going to pay for less.
The PURC's initiative to educate the youth on energy tariffs is expected to yield several long-term benefits for the nation. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kojonyako.
Now, the librarian at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Samuel Nikoi, wants Ghanaian universities to cultivate an open learning practice culture to eliminate barriers that hinder effective teaching and learning. Speaking at the second edition of the KNUST e-Learning Week under the theme, Education Without Borders, Dr. Nikwe observed divisions in the academic environment. He is optimistic, though, that the creation of digital learning groups will bridge the gap.
Nikwe further called for tailored learning support in addition to persons with learning disabilities.
Secondly, I believe as a university we need to work towards building bridges across the various disconnected bubbles within our academic space. Much of teaching and learning in KNU is in silos, the silo of a department or a faculty or a college. We need to confront the value proposition of our practice and how it supports collaborative open learning. We have to create new models of teaching and learning that confront archaic mindsets that inhibit interdisciplinary and cross-disciplinary teaching and learning. One way to address this problem is through the creation of digital learning design groups, working together to reflect best pedagogical practice and bring vitality and relevance to our curriculum. We should work towards the development of a culture of open learning practice, built around norms and standards that promote open learning communities, and move away from education delivery being mere trafficking of information and to knowledge creation. Thirdly, we must confront learning support for multiple modes of learning responsive to individual and group-based learning needs. As a university, we need to establish and develop a technical support mechanism which ensures that every learner can be supported in their learning journey.
KNUST Vice Chancellor Professor Rita Akosia-Dixon was happy with the university's commitment to expanding access to quality education beyond graphical, social and cultural constraints through e-learning.
The theme, Education Without Borders, encapsulates the essence of this transformation. It indeed signifies our commitment to expanding access to quality education beyond geographical, social, and cultural constraints. Through e-learning, we have collectively shattered the physical boundaries that once limited our reach. Today, we are extending our reach to learners who may be in remote corners of our nation or even across the globe.
Director of KNUST E-Learning Center, Professor Eric Apewa-Sante, announced some activities in this year's program, including online learning festival, professional development session in cybersecurity, technology mentoring session for SHS, Tech Smarters, among others. The week will be climaxed by awards to students and faculty who have excelled in the use of the KNUST Learning Management System. The program was in collaboration with the Indian High Commission, Israeli Embassy, Arizona State University, MasterCard e-learning initiative, and StudyX.
And it's on that educational note that we cap off the news. But stay with us. Right up next, the news review. We'll be back.